Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's movie blog. I am the critic Cynic. Hope you're doing well. And today I actually feel like a person and was able to go on a hike for about 2 miles, and so I'm feeling much better. Still very stuffy with running nose, but other than that, I'm feeling mostly better. But today I wanted to bring you some stuff that we actually talked about over on Gary's channel last night. And if you were not watching last night, Gary is planning on over on his Nerdrotic channel to have a weekly show every Friday. Obviously, Friday Night Tights is something he's been doing for a while, but now he wants to make it into an official, almost like a council in a lot of ways, where he's going to have me on, obviously, Comics Division is going to be on there as well, and he's going to try and get some other people in either a rotation and also even in a permanent spot as well, because we know that you guys have been very hungry for more consistent councils, and that's not to throw shade at anybody, but obviously when it comes to everything that everyone else is doing in the YouTube community, a lot of people are busy either with their comic book or with just behind the scenes stuff, and so obviously they aren't able to fully commit to doing weekly spots, and so we're going to try and do that for you guys. It should be around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Friday, and I should be there most times. Obviously, whenever the wife needs me on a Friday night, she's going to get precedence, but the show will indeed go on, and my dogs are very excited about it, if you couldn't tell from behind me. But one of the things we talked about last night were that there are basic plot leaks for Episode 9, and so spoiler warning, potentially, and also, of course, take it with a giant grain of salt. This is, of course, over on Reddit under the subreddit Star Wars Leaks. And as of last night, it was at 491 upvotes. And let me see if it's updated since then. Maybe it'll even disappear in front of me. And if it does, I remembered at least a couple of things that I could talk about. But when it comes to this, obviously you can understand that this is something that is not necessarily going to be completely accurate. This is not going to be something that everyone's going to look at and say, oh yeah, this is exactly what's going to happen. But still, 873 upvotes in 18 hours. I would say that it's not nothing, to say the least. I wouldn't be surprised if at least some things in here are probably true. And I want to talk about mostly what happens in the very beginning of the film and what happens at the very end of the film. So again, getting to major spoilers potentially here, so you have been warned. So apparently in the very beginning of the film, it's going to start with a lot of flashbacks. And the flashbacks are going to be focusing specifically on a younger Luke and Leia, which actually makes some sense because there was some word some time ago that they had some people in mind to play young Luke and young Leia. And so this would be a way for them to be able to use those characters and to use that mindset that had been around for a while in the very beginning, when even earlier rumors are coming out about them potentially doing a show or doing a movie based on the younger versions of the characters was being thrown around. So we're going to get younger versions of Luke and Leia. I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't know if they're going to still cast and have indeed those younger actors playing them, or if they're going to try and do some CGI nonsense. I really hope they don't do CGI, because oh boy, that would look awful. But at the same time too, I'm kind of wary of them recasting iconic roles, because it's going to then set them up in the future where if they want to, they can then continue on with their own stories about a wide variety of different things. So I'm kind of stuck in it where I'm like, you know what? I think that'd be better for them to have actual real life people. But also at the same time, I do think that it's worth talking about that it would probably be something that would worry a lot of people about them trying to utilize that in the future, making different films with the younger actors instead. So what's going to happen is that you're going to have young Luke and young Leia, and Luke is going to be training Leia to be a Jedi Master, to be a Jedi Knight, obviously, because we know that he was training a lot of Jedi in the events following Return of the Jedi. And so that's going to happen, and then she's going to have to stop that training because she finds out that she is pregnant with a boy, which of course is going to be the future Ben Swolo. It then jumps ahead to the modern day times where you have Kylo Ren trying to find something from the Oracle, a wayfinder, which is them basically trying to find something in the unknown regions, or at least it takes them to the unknown regions, where they find Emperor Palpatine, who apparently is indeed alive in the flesh. They don't explain how he's alive in the flesh. They do say that he would be probably about 113 years old, which just is hilarious for so many different things. But apparently on one of the planets in the unknown regions, you'll have Palpatine, and he will be the one that will be the one basically calling out to Kylo Ren, which is the reason why he's looking for the Wayfinder, which is the reason why he's being called to the unknown regions. And then he's told that he needs to find Rey and bring Rey to him, because the Emperor believes that he can corrupt Rey and bring her to the dark side, because in his vision of the future, it'll be the dark side run by Rey and Kylo right next to each other. Eventually, of course, some other things happen in between. There's some fights. You also find out that the Emperor, for the past 30 years, has been building up a fleet. Yes, that's right. A fleet of what is the term that they use here? It's freaking hilarious. I tell you this much. It's called Star Destroyer. No, hold on, not Star Destroyers. Death Star Destroyers. So apparently for the past 30 years, he's been making Death Star Destroyers and has an entire fleet, which he gives the Kylo Ren to fight the Resistance, which is just freaking hilarious. But this all leads up to the very end, where you have Rey going toe-to-toe with the Emperor. What happens in that battle is that her and Kylo are fighting one-on-one. Are fighting together on the same side. So Kylo once again comes back to the light. His back and forth journey has been insane, and it apparently will continue in this story as well. Ben Solo gets killed in this process. I know, spoiler warning. Obviously we said we're going to get into some spoilers. This video is probably going to be demonetized or probably get taken down at some point because you can't talk about these things. I'm just reading an article from Reddit, man. So and I'm going to say very clearly that this is a rumor and that this could potentially have spoilers. Who knows? But apparently Ben Solo is going to die in the process of this battle. And then Rey is then going to be left alone against the Emperor. But you might think, hey, so that means that Rey is going to defeat the Emperor all by herself? Oh, no, no, no. Au contraire. No, instead what we're going to have is we're going to have a Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 event where not only is Rey going to be a part of the fight to take down the Emperor, but also Force Ghost Luke and Force Ghost Leia, because Leia apparently is extremely powerful in the Force, as much so as her brother Luke, who had significantly more training, significantly more time, and significantly more knowledge of the Force. Apparently, she's going to be just as powerful as him to be able to help. So it's going to be Rey and Luke and Leia as Force Ghosts taking on the Emperor, and all three of them together will take him on, which is hilarious to me also because the Emperor is 113 years old. He's decrepit. He was believed to have been dead, and yet somehow, some way, he's going to be powerful enough to take on Mary Sue herself, Rey, and to the point where Rey needs not only Ben Solo, who's going to get killed in the process, but also one of the most powerful Jedis in history, Luke Skywalker, and his sister, Leia, as Force Ghost? Wow. And then if that wasn't bad enough, you can then have it to the point where Rey finally builds her own lightsaber on the sands of Tatooine by taking the remnants of some of the leftover lightsabers that were left over by Ben, by Luke Skywalker, of course, and she finally makes her own, which apparently will have a golden tint to it. Gotta be different, right? You can't have it be a typical green or blue or anything like that. No, it's gonna be a yellow tint to it, and then she's gonna be staring at the double sunset, just like Luke did in the first film, and it's gonna have nostalgia and feelings, and everyone's supposed to be, oh my god, this is reminding me of what the first film brought us, and yet no one's gonna feel that way, or at least most people won't, because they're going to look at it and say to themselves, man, that was a waste of time. Man, that was a waste of everything. And there's a lot more in these leaks too. So again, if you want to check it out, it's under the Star Wars Leaks subreddit. And again, this has 873 upvotes, so it's going to be near the very top of that. And obviously take these with a grain of salt, but I would not be surprised if at least some elements of this are indeed true. It does throughout tie into D23 footage to try and say this is how we're able to make these connections. Palpatine, we know, is going to be in the movie in some form or fashion. We don't exactly know how. We know that, of course, Daisy Ridley herself said that it would be fully explained in the movie. They have not gone to the unknown regions yet in the live-action Star Wars movies, and so it would make sense for them to try and start to delve out, because I imagine that not only are going to have films that go back in time into the Republic era, Old Republic era, but also probably other films that are going to take place in other parts of the universe, in other parts of the galaxy. Unknown regions would definitely be an interesting place for that to happen. However, as we all know, and as we've been always trying to make very clear, is that anytime that it's Disney behind the choices, anytime that it's Disney who's making these decisions, who's going out of their way to try and appease the fans because they've realized they've screwed up so much, especially with The Last Jedi, it just makes me wary because, okay, why is it that now you care? Why is it that now you want to give fans what they want? And even then, when you say we're going to give fans what they want, you don't really mean that, because you still are going to try and push your own agendas and give us crap storytelling in the process. If you wanted to have a really good story, there are other ways you could have gone about it, but it'd be very hard to because of The Last Jedi. Because, yes, J.J. Abrams, no matter what you say, it did derail your story. It did derail the entire universe, and it's going to, because of that movie, be one of the most haphazard and jagged trilogies of all time. But we also asked about this. Do you think there's any truth to these rumors? Again, I don't know if this started anywhere else or not, but of course, this is a rumor and is to be taken with a giant grain of salt. However, it is still interesting nonetheless to think about all the various things that it talks about here. To me, the most interesting, of course, is the fact that somehow a 113-year-old Palpatine is still alive and can take on Force Ghost Luke and Leia and Rey at the same time, Miss Mary Sue herself, and also that he's somehow been able to build Death Star destroyers in that process too, with him and his entire army, right? Okay, sure, whatever the heck that means. And then at the very end, of course, you have him being taken out, and you have just the ultimate troll of fans by saying, look, we care. Here's the double sunset. That's going to make everyone feel, that's basically, to me, their moment, right? You know how I said every single Disney Star Wars film has had a moment that they want you to walk away with, that they want you to say, oh my God, but that moment right there was so cool. They want you to walk out of this movie saying, oh my God, that ending was so beautiful. It doesn't matter how they got there. It doesn't matter what happened in The Last Jedi. All that matters is that you leave with that one moment, that one thing that you're going to be talking about, because at the end of the day, that's all they care about. A single moment versus a entire coherent story with good character arcs. But anyway, let me know your thoughts about these links in the comments below. Also, guys, if you like this video, smash that like, give me a subscribe. It helps me out a lot. Also, please make sure that you like and share this video, because you know that Disney's either going to try and take it down completely because it's dealing with leaks. And again, I don't know if there's any truth to these leaks or not. That's why I've made it very clear throughout the video that I'm not pontificating from the high mountain of this is exactly how Star Wars is going to happen. But if this is how it's going to happen, oh boy, it's going to be crazy. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless.